It was a cold, rainy night. The sky was dark, and the wind was strong. The streetlights were shaking because of the storm. Marcus, a black single dad, was driving home from his late-night delivery job. His old car made small noises every minute, but he was used to it. He just wanted to reach home, eat something simple, and check on his daughter Lily. She always waited for him, even if she fell asleep with her small teddy bear in her arms. Marcus looked at the road. The wipers were slow and weak. He tapped them 2 times, hoping they would move faster, but they didn't listen. Rain hit the windshield like tiny stones. It was the kind of night when most people stayed home. But Marcus had no choice. He needed money. He needed to pay rent. And most of all, he needed to take care of his daughter. As he drove, he whispered to himself, "Just 15 more minutes. At home." Suddenly, he saw something unusual. A human figure beside the road. A woman. She was standing near a broken-down car. Her clothes were wet. Her hair was sticking to her face. She was trying to wave at cars, but no one stopped. Marcus slowed down, but didn't stop yet. He looked around. The area was empty. No houses, no shops, no other cars. Only darkness and rain. A small voice inside him said, "Don't stop. It could be dangerous." Another voice said, "What? If she really needs help, what if it was Lily out there someday?" He took a deep breath. He pulled his car to the side. The woman looked surprised when his car stopped. Marcus held his breath for a second. He wasn't scared, but he was careful. Life had taught him to think before trusting anyone, but he couldn't leave her here in this storm. He opened his window a little and said in a calm voice, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" The woman nodded quickly. "Yes, please. My car just died. My phone is also out of battery. I don't know what to do." Her voice was shaking, maybe from the cold, maybe from fear. Marcus opened the door and came out, letting the rain hit his jacket. He checked her car. He tried turning the key. Nothing. The engine didn't even make a sound. It was completely dead. "You won't be able to go anywhere in this," he said softly. "There's a small town about 10 minutes from here. I can drop you there." The woman's eyes filled with relief. "Thank you. Thank you so much." Nobody else stopped. Marcus looked at the empty road again. Yeah, not many cars tonight. He helped her pick up her small bag from the front seat. Then he opened the passenger side of his car for her. She sat down quietly, shivering. When Marcus sat back inside, he noticed she was staring straight ahead, not saying a word. For a moment, there was total silence. Only the rain and the old engine's hum. Marcus tried to break the silence. "Don't worry, I'll get you to the town. What's your name?" The woman paused. "My name is Angela." "Nice to meet you, Angela," he said kindly, though in his mind something felt strange. Not bad, just strange. Angela seemed nervous, like she was hiding something, but Marcus didn't ask. He wasn't the type to push people, he believed. Everyone had their own story, their own secrets. As they drove, Angela watched Marcus carefully. She noticed his gentle way of speaking. She saw the tiredness in his eyes. She saw the old jacket he wore to protect himself from the cold. She wondered how someone with so little could still offer so much help. Meanwhile, Marcus kept his eyes on the road. The storm was getting stronger, but deep inside he felt something different tonight. Something he couldn't explain. Something connected to this woman sitting beside him. He didn't know it yet, but this simple act of kindness was about to change his entire life. And Angela, she wasn't just a stranded woman. She was someone with the power to shape Marcus's future. But for now, neither of them said a word. The night continued. The rain fell harder, and destiny quietly entered Marcus's car with Angela. The next morning began very differently from the stormy night. The sky was clear and soft sunlight entered. Marcus's small apartment, the smell of cheap coffee filled the kitchen. Marcus stood by the counter, slowly stirring sugar into his cup. He was tired, but not unhappy. He felt good about helping the woman last night. It was the right thing to do. Lily, his 7-year-old daughter, ran into the room wearing mismatched socks and holding her school notebook. "Daddy, look," she said proudly. I drew this for you." Marcus smiled. The drawing showed a stick-figure dad and a little girl holding hands under a big sun. "That's beautiful, sweetheart," he said, kissing her forehead. For a moment, everything felt peaceful. Then, a knock on the door. A loud, strong knock. Marcus wasn't expecting anyone. He opened the door slowly. A man wearing a delivery uniform stood there with a serious face. "Are you Marcus Reed?" he asked. "Yes," Marcus replied. The man handed him a white envelope. "Court notice. Please sign here." Marcus froze for a second. "Court, why?" He signed the paper with shaky hands. The man left without another word. Lily tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, what is it?" Marcus didn't want to scare her. "It's nothing, baby. Go finish your cereal." He closed the door and stared at the envelope. His heart beat faster. He sat down at the small dining table and opened it slowly. Inside was a printed letter with bold black letters, official notice, court summons. His eyes moved quickly. Through the words, unpaid traffic fine, failure to appear, possible jail time, hearing scheduled in 3 days. Marcus felt the room spinning. "Jail time?" he whispered. He didn't remember any unpaid fine. He never missed a hearing. He always followed the rules. He had to. He was a single dad. His hands trembled as he read it again and again. How could this happen? Who made this mistake? What would happen to Lily if he went to jail? He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. This was not just a piece of paper. This was a threat to his entire life. After dropping Lily at school, Marcus drove to his workplace. But the whole time he kept seeing the words court summons in his mind. He parked the car and sat in silence. He needed answers. He needed help. His boss, a kind older man named Mr. Turner, noticed something was wrong. "Marcus, you look worried," he said. Marcus hesitated, then showed him the letter. Mr. Turner's eyes widened. "This is serious. You can't ignore this. You need to go." "I can't lose this job," Marcus whispered. "You won't," Mr. Turner said firmly. "Take the day. Do whatever you need. Family comes first." Marcus thanked him and left. He drove straight to the courthouse, hoping someone would explain everything. But inside, things only got more confusing. The clerk behind the counter repeated the same sentence 3 times. "Sir, your case is already filed. You must appear in 3 days, Marcus tried to explain. "There must be a mistake." "I never got any notice before this." The clerk shrugged. "Maybe the mail didn't reach, but the judge will decide."
Hey, the judge.
A word that felt heavy, powerful, dangerous. Marcus walked out of the courthouse feeling helpless. People rushed by him, lawyers, officers, visitors, but he felt alone in a world that didn't care about small people like him. As he reached his car, his thoughts drifted back to the woman from last night, Angela. For some reason, her face came into his mind, wet hair, shaky voice, nervous eyes. Why was she alone on that road? Why did she look so worried? And why did he feel like last night and today were somehow connected? He shook his head. That's crazy, he told himself. He drove home slowly. Every red light felt longer. Every minute felt heavier. When he reached the apartment, he sat in the car for a long time, staring at the court letter lying on the seat beside him. His life had been hard before, but this felt different. This felt like a storm bigger than the one he faced last night. He whispered to himself, "I have 3 days. I have to protect my daughter. I have to fight." But he had no idea the person waiting for him in that courtroom was the same woman he had helped in the rain. And she held his fate in her hands. Marcus sat on the edge of his bed that night, the court letter lying beside him like a piece of bad news waiting to explode. The small apartment was quiet. Too quiet. The only sounds were the soft breaths of Lily sleeping in the next room and the ticking of the cheap wall clock. Every tick felt like a reminder time was moving, and trouble was coming. Marcus rubbed his face with both hands. He felt tired, not because of work, but because of life. Everything always felt like a battle. And now a new problem had arrived. Bigger than anything before, he leaned back against the wall and closed his eyes. Memories came rushing in, one after another, like old wounds reopening. There was a time when life was easy, when he had a family, when he wasn't alone. When Lily's mother, Sarah, used to laugh in the kitchen while cooking, but those days ended fast. Too fast. Marcus remembered the day Sarah left. She had packed her bags while he was at work. When he returned, the apartment was quiet like. Tonight, a note sat on the table. I can't do this anymore. No goodbye. No explanation. No promise to return. She left Lily, who was just a baby at the time, sleeping in her crib. Marcus spent the next few hours crying silently, holding his daughter close, telling her she wasn't alone, even though he felt completely alone. Life changed after that. He had to quit his dreams, whatever was left of them. He worked 2 jobs at the same time, a delivery boy in the day and a cleaner at night. He barely slept, but he never complained. Every diaper, every bottle, every late-night fever, he handled everything by himself. People used to ask him, "Why don't you give Lily to someone else?" Or ask her mother to help. Marcus always answered the same way, "She's my daughter. My responsibility, my love. So I'll raise her even if the world turns against me." And sometimes, the world really did. One year, he lost both his jobs in the same week. Bills piled up like a mountain. He had no money for food, remembered. Cutting apples into small pieces so Lily wouldn't notice they had no meals left. He lied to her. Daddy already ate at work, even though his stomach hurt from hunger. Then came the cold winter. Their heater broke, and he didn't have money to fix it. Marcus wrapped Lily in blankets, held her close, and whispered stories to keep her from crying. He made up fairy tales about brave kings and strong princesses, not because he was a writer, because he wanted her to fall asleep feeling safe. But every night, when she finally slept, he sat alone, scared and uncertain. How long could he survive like this? He remembered how school problems started too. Lily was small, sweet, but always confused why other kids had both parents. Teachers called him many times. She cries during class. She misses her mother. She needs stability. Stability. That word hurt him the most, because he was trying more than anyone knew, trying harder than most fathers ever had to. Through all this, Marcus taught Lily only one lesson. Kindness matters. Always. Even when he had nothing, he helped people. Neighbors, co-workers, strangers. He fixed old ladies' grocery bags. He carried boxes for people he didn't know. He returned wallets he found on roads. He believed the world had pain, but it also had goodness. That belief kept him alive. Marcus opened his eyes and looked around his small room. The memories made his heart heavy but also strong. He had survived years of struggle. He had raised his daughter alone. He had faced hunger, loneliness, and Farron still kept his heart gentle, but this court case, this was different. This felt like a challenge made to break him. He picked up the court letter again. His hands didn't shake this time. He whispered to himself, "I've survived. Worse, I won't let this destroy us." What he didn't know was that someone else, someone unexpected, already knew his struggles. Someone had seen his kindness the night he helped a stranger on the road. And soon, his past, his pain, and that one act of kindness would collide in a way he could never imagine. The storm of his life was not over. It was only beginning. The morning of the court hearing felt heavier than usual. Even the sun looked dull, like it didn't want to rise. Marcus woke up before the alarm. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, trying to breathe normally. Today was the day that could change his life. Today. A stranger in a judge's chair would decide his future and Lily's too. Lily walked into the room, rubbing her sleepy eyes. "Daddy, are you going to work?" she asked softly. Marcus forced a smile. "No, baby. Daddy has something important to do today. You okay?" she asked, noticing the worry on his face. "I will be," he whispered, hugging her tightly. But inside, he wasn't sure. After dropping Lily at his neighbor's house, he started the long drive to the courthouse. The steering wheel felt cold. His hands kept sweating. His mind repeated the same fear again and again. What if they take me away from my daughter? He pushed the thought away and focused on the road. He had survived harder days. He could survive this too. The courthouse building stood tall and strict, with stone walls and wide steps. Marcus walked up slowly, feeling as if each step weighed 100 pounds. People rushed past him, lawyers in suits, families holding papers, officers moving around. But he felt alone in the middle of the noise. Inside, the courtroom had a strange kind of coldness. Not the air, but the atmosphere. Silence filled the place, even when people spoke. The wooden benches were old, and the lights above were bright enough to make his eyes ache. Marcus sat in the back seat while waiting. He noticed a man beside him whispering, "Judges here are very strict." Marcus swallowed hard. A woman on the other side said, "Some judges don't forgive mistakes." Marcus clenched his fists. He didn't know which judge would be handling his case. His stomach twisted with fear. He prayed silently, something he rarely did. A clerk entered the room and announced, "All rise. Court is now in session." Marcus stood with everyone else, his heart pounding like a drum. The judge walked in, black robe, calm steps, a folder in hand, but Marcus couldn't see the face clearly from his seat. The judge sat, adjusted papers, and finally looked up. In that moment, Marcus felt like the air left his lungs. He knew that face. His eyes widened. His breath stopped. His mind froze. It was Angela, the stranded woman from the stormy night, the woman he helped, the woman he saved. She looked completely different, confident, composed, powerful, but her eyes were the same. Those, nervous, searching eyes from that dark road. Marcus stood there in shock. Judge Angela Whitmore looked at him only for a brief second. Her expression didn't change. No smile, no surprise, no recognition. She kept a straight, professional face as if she had never seen him before. Marcus felt confused. Should he say something? Should he remind her of that night? Or stay silent? He stayed silent. He didn't want to disrespect the court. The clerk called his name. Case of Marcus Reed. Please step forward. His feet felt heavy as he walked to the front. The room felt smaller now, like the walls were closing in. Judge Angela looked at the file, then at Marcus. For a moment her eyes softened, just a little, like she remembered something, like she knew something others didn't. But she quickly returned to her serious expression. "Mr. Reed," she said, her voice calm and steady. "You are here for an unpaid fine and failure to appear. Is that correct?" Marcus cleared his throat. "Yes, Your Honor, but I never received any earlier notice." Judge Angela studied him for a moment. Her fingers tapped softly on the wooden desk, like she was thinking deeply. Marcus felt every eye in the courtroom watching him. She finally spoke. "We will review your situation carefully." Her tone wasn't harsh. It wasn't cold. It was neutral, but thoughtful. Marcus couldn't understand what she was thinking. Did she recognize him? Did she remember the storm? Did she remember how he helped her? He didn't know, but one thing was clear. His fate was now in the hands of the woman he had once rescued, and whether it was destiny, luck, or something else, everything in his life was about to change. The courtroom felt tense as Marcus stood there, trying to stay calm. He kept his eyes low, afraid to look directly at Judge Angela. He didn't want to make trouble. He didn't want to look disrespectful. And most of all, he didn't want to show how scared he really was. But Angela did look at him, quietly, carefully, not as a judge only, but as a woman remembering something important. Still, she said nothing. "Mr. Reed," the prosecutor began, clearing his throat. "The evidence is simple. He ignored the fine. He ignored the court date. He should face the legal consequences." Felt a wave of fear hit him. Legal consequences. The prosecutor made them sound bigger, heavier, more dangerous. Angela looked at the prosecutor sharply. "Let's proceed step by step," she said. Her voice was calm, but it carried power. The prosecutor nodded quickly. They brought out papers, receipts, old letters, traffic reports. Marcus just stood there, feeling smaller and smaller as they reviewed every line like it was a crime story. The prosecutor continued. "Your Honor, this case is straightforward." Angela raised her hand. He stopped immediately. Mr. Reed, she said, turning to Marcus, why did you not pay this fine? Why did you miss the first hearing? Marcus took a slow breath. He didn't want to sound defensive. He didn't want to sound like he was making excuses. It never worked in court. Your Honor, he said softly, I never received the first notice. I didn't even know I had a fine. Do you have proof? The prosecutor asked. Marcus shook his head. No, I don't. A few people in the courtroom whispered. Marcus felt the pressure again. Angela looked at him for a long moment. Tell me what happened around that time, she said gently. Marcus hesitated, then spoke. Your Honor, life was very hard then. I was working 2 jobs. Taking care of my daughter alone. I barely slept. I was trying to survive. Angela listened without blinking. I wasn't avoiding anything, Marcus continued. I just didn't know. His voice cracked. He hated that. He didn't want her to think he was weak. Angela looked down at the file again. The prosecutor spoke up quickly. Your Honor, every citizen must follow the rules. If we start forgiving mistakes, people will take advantage. Angela's voice cut him off. I understand the law, she said firmly. You don't need to repeat it. The room went silent. She looked at Marcus again. This time her eyes held something different. Recognition, memory, maybe gratitude, Mr. Reed said. Please step back for a moment. I will review all details. Marcus stepped back. His legs felt shaky. He watched Angela as she examined the papers. Her fingers moved slowly across the pages. Her eyes narrowed at certain lines. She took a deep breath more than once. The courtroom waited then. Something unexpected happened. Angela flipped to the last page and stopped. Her expression softened. She touched her forehead gently, as if remembering something important. The storm. The road. The kindness. The moment he gave her his warm jacket when she was freezing. Suddenly the prosecutor spoke again. Your Honor, I remind you that this case, Angela raised her voice slightly. No, let me remind you, this court considers character, context, and truth. The prosecutor's mouth shut immediately. All eyes turned to her. She looked at Marcus again. Mr. Reed, you helped someone recently, didn't you? Marcus blinked, surprised. Helped? Yes. A woman. How? She asked softly. In the rain, her car broke down. She looked scared. I helped her, Your Honor? Angela looked down. A small, invisible smile touched her lips, but she hid it quickly. Thank you, she said. But it wasn't the kind of thank you a judge usually gave. Marcus stood confused. Why was she asking? Did she remember? Was she testing him? She took a deep breath and said to the courtroom, we will finish this case shortly. But first, we need to understand the full story. And in that moment, Marcus realized something. She did remember everything. The storm, the night. Now, it was changing something inside her too. The truth was rising to the surface slowly, quietly, but powerfully, and the final decision was going to be anything but ordinary. The courtroom felt heavier than before. Everyone waited for Judge Angela to speak. Marcus stood still, trying to calm his breathing. His palms were sweating. His heart felt like it was punching inside his chest. This moment could decide everything: his freedom, his job, and his daughter's future. Angela looked at the papers in front of her, then at Marcus. A long silence filled the room. Even the air felt like it had stopped moving. Finally, she spoke. Mr. Reed, she said, please step forward. Marcus moved slowly, afraid of what she might say. His voice almost disappeared when he whispered, yes, Your Honor. Angela took a deep breath. She glanced at the prosecutor. She glanced at the clerk. Then she looked directly at Marcus Rayleigh, looked at him like she was seeing the man he was, not just the case file. Before I announce my decision, she said calmly, I want the courtroom to understand something. Everyone leaned in. This man, she said, pointing at Marcus, is not irresponsible. He is not careless. He is a father doing everything he can for his child. And sometimes, life makes mistakes before people do. Whispers spread across the room. The prosecutor opened his mouth, but Angela raised her hand sharply, silencing. him without a single word. She continued, "Mr. Reed, I reviewed your case carefully. I reviewed your work records, your past reports, and even your history as a parent." She paused, "And I also reviewed your character." Marcus looked up slowly, confused and nervous. Angela's voice softened. "Some time ago, you helped someone on a dark road. You didn't ask for a reward. You didn't ask for anything at all. You simply helped, even when your own life was difficult." Marcus felt his breath catch. Was she talking about herself? Did she remember the night? Did she know it was him? Angela kept her tone formal, but her eyes told another story. Character. "Like that," she said, "cannot be ignored." The courtroom became completely silent. Angela picked up her pen and signed a paper with one clear stroke. Then she looked at Marcus with steady eyes. "Mr. Reed," she said, "I am dismissing your case." Marcus froze. He didn't understand at first. "What? What does that mean, Your Honor?" he stammered. "It means," she said with a gentle firmness, "you are free to go. No fine, no jail time. No penalty." Gasps filled the room. Marcus felt his legs weaken. This couldn't be real. He blinked several times, trying to accept the words. Angela leaned forward slightly. "Take care of your daughter. Continue being the man you were that night. The world needs kindness like yours." Her voice became softer, almost human, not just judicial. "And remember, sometimes life returns goodness when we least expect it." Marcus's throat tightened. "Thank you, Your Honor," he whispered, his voice shaking. "I don't know how to." "You don't have to," she said. "Just live your life well," the clerk shouted. "Case dismissed." Marcus stepped back, still stunned. He turned around and walked out of the courtroom slowly, feeling lighter with every step, like a giant weight had lifted from his shoulders. Outside the courtroom doors, he leaned against the wall and covered his face with his hands. He didn't cry out loud, but tears filled his eyes. Tears of relief, tears of gratitude, tears of a father who just got another chance at life. A few moments later, the courtroom door opened quietly. Angela stepped out without her robe, just a normal woman again. She walked up to Marcus slowly. He stood up straight, unsure what to say. Angela spoke first. "You saved me that night," she said. "I was on my way to the hospital. My husband had been in a terrible accident. Because of your help, I reached him in time." Marcus stared, shocked. She continued, voice trembling. "Slightly, you saved my family. Today I saved yours." Marcus didn't know how to respond. All he could manage was a soft thank you. Angela nodded, gave him a small, warm smile, walked away. As Marcus stepped outside into the sunlight, he whispered to himself, "Kindness always returns, even when we don't expect it." And with that, he went home to the daughter who needed him, carrying a new hope, a new future, and a story that would stay with him forever.